Have you ever found yourself in the middle of a disagreement with your partner, and suddenly you feel like you're 10 years old again? It's a feeling that can wash over you in an instant. One moment you're a capable adult discussing who was supposed to take out the recycling, and the next, you're filled with this primal fear of being left, of being misunderstood, of not being enough. It's a powerful, often confusing experience. We think we're just talking about chores, but our bodies and our hearts are replaying a much older story. A story that was written long before we ever met the person standing in front of us. This phenomenon isn't just you. It's profoundly human. The blueprints for how we connect with others as adults were drafted in our earliest relationships, primarily with our caregivers. As tiny, vulnerable beings, our very survival depended on our ability to maintain proximity to the people who kept us safe, fed, and warm. We learned through thousands of micro-interactions whether our needs would be met, whether our cries would be soothed, and whether we could trust the world to be a safe place. These lessons become the quiet echoes in the room of our adult relationships. They are the invisible forces that shape our reactions, our fears, and our deepest longings. They influence why some of us crave constant reassurance while others need space to breathe. So, what is this powerful blueprint? It's what psychologists John Bowlby and Mary Ainsworth called attachment theory. It's not some cold clinical concept. It's the story of human connection. Bowlby, working after World War II, observed the profound distress of children who had been separated from their parents. He realized that the need to form a strong emotional bond with a primary caregiver is a fundamental human need, just like the need for food or shelter. Mary Ainsworth took this idea and brought it to life with her groundbreaking strange situation study. She observed how young children responded when their caregiver left them alone in a room with a stranger, and then returned. The key wasn't just how the child reacted to the separation, but how they reacted during the reunion. Let's start with the goal, the place we can all learn to move toward, the secure attachment style. Think of this as the emotional home base. People with a secure attachment style generally had caregivers who were consistent, available, and responsive to their needs. When they cried, someone came. When they were scared, they were comforted. In adult relationships, this translates into a beautiful kind of emotional fluency. Secure individuals are not afraid of intimacy. In fact, they welcome it. Let's picture it. A secure person, let's call her Maria, is in a relationship with David. David has had a stressful week at work and tells Maria he needs a quiet evening to himself to recharge. Maria doesn't interpret this as rejection or a sign that he's pulling away. Instead, her internal monologue sounds something like, "Of course, he's had a tough week. I love him and I want him to have what he needs. I'll go have dinner with a friend and we can connect tomorrow." Now, let's talk about the anxious attachment style, sometimes called preoccupied. For individuals with this style, the primary caregiver was often inconsistent. Sometimes they were wonderfully present and attuned, but other times they were distracted, overwhelmed, or unavailable. This inconsistency creates a deep uncertainty. The child learns that love and attention are possible, but they are not guaranteed. As a result, they develop a hypervigilance for connection. A person with an anxious attachment style, let's call him Tom, craves intimacy and closeness more than anything. He wants to merge with his partner, to feel completely and totally connected. Imagine Tom's partner Sarah says she's going out with her friends. For Tom, it can trigger a cascade of anxious thoughts. What if she meets someone else? What if she realizes she has more fun without me? Why hasn't she texted me back? It's been 10 minutes. This constant need for validation can put a tremendous strain on a relationship. The partner of an anxiously attached person can start to feel smothered, as if their every move is being monitored and scrutinized. They might begin to pull away to get some breathing room, which, tragically, is the very thing the anxious person fears most. This creates a painful cycle. On the other side of the attachment spectrum, we find the dismissive avoidant style. Individuals with this pattern often had caregivers who were consistently unavailable, distant, or even rejecting of their needs. The child learns a powerful self-protective lesson. My needs are a burden to others. and relying on people is unsafe and leads to disappointment. I must rely only on myself. As adults, these individuals often appear highly independent, confident, and self-contained. They value their freedom and autonomy above all else. Let's think about Chloe. She's in a relationship and her partner says, "I love you, and I want to talk about our future together." For many, this is a beautiful moment. For Chloe, it can feel like the walls are closing in. She might respond by changing the subject, making a joke, or suddenly becoming very busy with work. She might even start to nitpick her partner's flaws, unconsciously creating reasons to justify the distance she craves. The tragedy is that the avoidant person often does have a deep, unacknowledged longing for connection, but their fear of dependency is even stronger. They live on a distant shore, watching the ships of intimacy sail by, convincing themselves they prefer the solitude, all while a quiet part of them may wish they had the courage to climb aboard. Finally, we arrive at the most complex and often painful pattern, the fearful avoidant or disorganized attachment style. This style typically develops in a childhood environment that was frightening or chaotic. The caregiver, the person who is supposed to be the source of safety, was also a source of fear. The child is caught in an impossible biological paradox. Their instinct tells them to flee to their caregiver for safety, but their experience tells them that their caregiver is the danger. As adults, individuals with a fearful avoidant attachment carry this internal conflict into their relationships. They simultaneously crave and fear intimacy. A person with a disorganized attachment, let's call him Leo, might pursue a partner with intense passion, only to suddenly pull away, sabotage the relationship, or end it abruptly as soon as real intimacy begins to form. His behavior can seem erratic and unpredictable because he is constantly oscillating between two competing fears, the fear of being abandoned and the fear of being engulfed or hurt. While we often focus on how these attachment patterns play out in our romantic lives, their reach extends far beyond. These blueprints for connection are the foundation upon which we build all of our significant relationships. This also impacts our relationship with ourselves. Our attachment style is deeply connected to our sense of self-worth. So here we are. We've walked through the blueprints of connection. As you've been listening, you may have seen yourself, your partner, your parents, or your friends. But I want to invite you to lean into that feeling not with judgment, but with curiosity and compassion. This isn't about labeling yourself or anyone else. It's about finding a map. Remember, your attachment style is not a life sentence. It's a starting point. The beautiful truth about the human brain is its neuroplasticity, its ability to change and form new pathways. We can heal. We can grow. We can earn security. So I invite you to continue this exploration. Get curious, be compassionate with yourself, and have the courage to build the secure, wholehearted connections you deserve. If this resonated with you, please subscribe for more content on relationships and emotional wellness. Your journey towards secure, loving connections starts with understanding, and that understanding starts now.